and welcome to Talk with Mo. Today's topic is very interesting, and as you know, the theme for season 2 is all about relationship. Today we're going to be discussing a dating relationship, but with a whole lot of twists, and dating that leads into marriage, and all the pressures from peers, from society, from even family that can come to bear in a relationship. With me in the studio is Mr. and Mrs. Esson, Babatunde and Gold Esson. It's so nice to have both of you here.
It's good to finally be here, man. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Thank
We're
you
excited to be here. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. It's such a privilege always to have guests coming and to want to even share part of their stories with us. I believe strongly that there's nothing ordinary about any one of us, and so our stories make up who we are, and the more we share the stories, the more we're able to preserve not just ourselves but our culture and everything about us. But today we're talking about a different kind of culture, a faith culture. You're both believers.
Yes.
And I was intrigued to hear that in this day and age, we actually do have a woman who decides to be a virgin until her marriage, until she becomes married. And Gold, that was you.
Yes, ma'am.
So take us onto that journey. But before we get there, how about you both introduce yourself? I know that you are both Mr. and Mrs. Esson, but what else should we know about you? Babatunde, I'll start with you.
Okay. Anyway, I think I will start with saying a very big thank you for having us here. We're excited to be here. We've watched the program, and it's a privilege. It's an honor. My name is Babatunde Esson. This is my wife. I like to introduce myself as the proud husband of Gold. Gold Adekumi Esson. I'm a father of 2 children. Greatness, the first. She's a girl, and Psalms, the second, is a boy, and we are expecting another one. So I'm excited about that.
Wow! Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I am a mechanical engineer by training. I did design engineer for a while, and then I decided to move into IT. Now I do software delivery for organizations. At the moment, I work as an IT consultant for Bank of Montreal as a software delivery manager. When I'm not at work, I'm in church. I'm privileged to be a minister of the young adults of my church. Sorry. So that's something that I'm extremely passionate about, seeing people fulfill their God-given destiny, especially in the lives of young people. So, yeah, I think in a nutshell, that's me in a nutshell.
That's who you are.
Yeah, that's who I am.
And Gold, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay.
The proud wife.
I know. My name is Gold Esson. Yeah. And like he said, I'm the beautiful wife of my husband.
Yeah.
And I finished with a bachelor's degree, international relations, back in Covenant University, somewhere far away in Nigeria.
Nigeria.
And I'm here now. I'm a public servant right now.
Yeah.
And I have my 2 lovely children. I have greatness, like I said, and I have Psalms. They give me joy. And when I'm not working, like my husband, what I do is be with my God. And I've found out one of the best ways to be with God is to be with God's people. So you would almost always find me in church. If I'm not working and I'm not taking care of the kids at home, then I'm in church. Those are the only 3 places you can find me. Except I'm with my friends, who mostly
are in church. So interesting.
That's our life in a nutshell. I don't think I'm passionate about beauty. That's another angle about me. I just love making, I don't know, I want you to be beautiful. I might not have as much time to pour in like I used to, but I still I just love to make people beautiful.
Beautiful.
I want to make your hair. I want to, make up your face. If you don't like makeup and you know me, good luck to you.
Good luck.
Because you might just have to,
like makeup.
It's okay. But that's it. That's everything.
Interesting.
That's all.
Interesting. So, it's been such a beautiful thing to know both of you, and I have to say, I know you through my daughter, and you have been such a huge blessing to them. But through her, I came to know both of you, and it's just intriguing, your story, and getting to know you more. I just thought, look, let's share your story, because the dating scene today is so much different from what you described, and yet you're a beautiful woman, young, desirable, and yet you decided right from the get-go that you were going to remain a virgin until you got married. Now I want to ask you, what led you to that decision, and when did you decide, make up your mind that you're going to remain a virgin?
Honestly, the decision didn't initially come from me.
Whom did it come from?
It came from my father.
From your father?
Yes.
How did that discussion go?
I know, right? So I don't know. So many people won't have parents who will sit them down and talk about relationship and sex and all of that. But not my dad. He was a pastor, and he didn't have enough time with us growing up. The dynamics of our family, you don't want to know. It's a story for another time. But by the time we all came into his life fully, he wanted to be part of our lives every step of the way. It's a guy who has lost so many years. He wanted to make up for those years in every way. He has that rapport with us because he wanted us to understand the world of man. My dad he's not always been a good person. Everybody sees the pastor he was before he left this part of this earth, basically. But more importantly, he used to be a very big playboy. So he had his days with women. So let's not get into that. He did not. I think having 3 girls probably is one of the things that sat him up and said, you know what?
Karma was coming.
So he was always very particular about us, and he would talk to us. What are you feeling? Any boys you're having any feelings for? You talk about your feelings. If you have a crush, you talk about, I used to have a crush. Oh my, no, I have crushes. Different seasons and times of my life. But thank God I had my dad to talk to about that. And once there's anything, say, whatever you do, make sure you guys are not getting physical. You don't need that pressure. You don't need it. It takes away too many decisions from you. It was never from a place of faith initially. He just wanted us to understand. For me, my understanding from that was, once you start having physical relationship with a person, it limits your confidence to an extent. It limits the way you would. There's some truth you will not be able to tell yourself when you start getting physical. It made me, he would just always talk to me that maybe if your parents, if we made better choices, or if we didn't have all this physical thing to do before you all came along, just maybe we would do better, or we could have. But just because at some point you tell yourself, I've gone too far with this person, or something of that nature, then
you let your guard down.
It's okay. I can't do better than this anymore, or this is just fine. I don't even know if what is out there is even worse. So let's sit right where we're at. That's where all of this started from me. And then he started, as a pastor, he will also talk to us about his faith. And then we all got to become born again Christians. We will go to church, our father's children, but we became born again Christians because our dad literally, today you are giving your life to Christ today on this day. That was the way it works in our house. Until I intentionally made that decision for myself after I actually passed in 200 level in Covenant University. And since then, every time I read the Bible, it's like there's a virtue to it.
There's a virtue to it. There's a virtue. How old were you at the time you decided, or you got to know that there's a virtue?
That was when I was 22.
22. So you would have graduated university at the time.
I was supposed to be graduating I finished at 24. Did I turn 25? No, I was 24 when I left community university. So that was about the time my mind opened up to, it's not just about what my dad has been wanting me to be, or even after when all of this came into full fusion, it was gone. The man who made me live the life basically was no more. But everything he says, I see it in play. You know, I have friends who regret actions.
When you say actions, is it like having sexual intercourse?
Yes.
Men they were not married.
When we're young people who discuss our relationship, and for me, I used to read a lot of erotic books as a growing child. If anything, Harlequin, Super
Mills
Romance,
and
and all the
Bones.
Mills and Bones, Daniel Steele's, and all of that. That was me. I loved them. Collection of all those kind of books, because almost like what I can really do in real life when I didn't have a full understanding of why I wasn't getting physical with any guy or anything, I could read it up in books. Because I think I used to get worried also that this one that my dad would say we can't. That's how eventually somebody will marry you, not even know what you're doing with yourselves. So that was my reason.
So you were trying to get educated reading this erotic books.
Yes. I will read them, but there are so many emotions that how can you tell me I can't have this? This shouldn't be bad. But in the same books, there's so many heartbreak talk, and I'm like, oh boy. Every time it's not because of the sexual relationship that something goes wrong. No. Situations will happen. But I remember a certain book that they didn't plan to have any kind of anything. It just happened. It just happened. And they had a child, or at least she was pregnant, and they did not know, and they went their separate ways until about, I can't remember the book vividly, but I know it was about 10 years thereabout later before they all came back together and realized there was a child in the mix and all of that. This is me telling myself this is heartache everybody could have, just me personally, because anything about children, even when I didn't have them, I've always been very, very particular about children. Like, this child just grew up thinking, I don't have a complete family. Oh, this could have just been avoided. That's the angle I understood from the book. So many things that brought up this is how I want to live my life.
Live your life.
For me. And God knows it was easier when I met a son. We called him a son in school. When I met him, he was someone who shared, it's like he's not about I want to marry a virgin or something. What do you want?
So there was a discussion between both of you.
Absolutely.
So was that discussion because you knew she was a virgin at the time, or was it because you wanted her to remain a virgin?
I think it took a while before I even knew she was a virgin, because it wasn't a focus for me. It wasn't like, are you a virgin? We're both Christians, and I think we both aspire to have a relationship in a godly way. So it wasn't like we wanted to. It wasn't like we sat down to say, you know what, are you open to sex? It was not on the table. It wasn't something that we gave ourselves the option that we're going to. This is an option for us, right? So I think it was one of our discussions that I got to know that, oh, she's still a virgin. Like, okay, that's I'm surprised, but you know that's. And
at this time,
great.
You had already started dating.
I think we were already dating. Yeah, we were already dating when I got to know that she was a virgin. Yes.
And now, help me understand. I know that when a guy sees a girl, a beautiful girl, the first thing, the bells that are ringing are the bells below, and the bells below want to get to work. So did that not happen in your case? Did you not say, when am I going to get her to bed?
I wouldn't say it happened, and the reason is this. it wasn't. I think, okay, to maybe explain the scenario, Covenant University is a Christian school. I'm a Christian, she's a Christian. So it's about having this, I've always had this desire to live above your fleshly desire. So even if I felt something, it wouldn't be something that I would act on or even want to have a discussion about, because yes, I'm young, so there is no denial that there are feelings or there are ways that you feel, but because of the values that you have or the way you actually want this relationship to go, so you don't invest in those feelings. Like you do everything to make sure that you don't invest in those feelings. So it wouldn't be I just met this girl, so even meeting her, honestly, I think it wasn't. I don't even think the first thing that came to my mind was sex, because I'm meeting someone that I'm having to pray about to know if this is going to be my wife. And I think it would have been very difficult for me to expect that I'm praying to God, expecting that He would hear me, He would answer me if I'm overwhelmed with that thought. Not like I'm saying He never crossed my mind, but it wasn't something enough to dwell on or to capitalize on or to give too much of thoughts to.
Okay, so I want to believe, so you were both in school when you met them.
Yes.
Every relationship will have challenges, and I know that at the time, just as it is today, there are going to be pressures, whether from peer or from society. Did you fall into any kind of pressure to take your relationship to the next step? And of course, when I mean next step, worldly, people consider the next step to be sex. So was that next step, were there pressures to get into that next step?
For me, no. So this is it. And the reason is because I think I will always go back to trying to understand the atmosphere or the landscape. I'm this, I wouldn't say like spirit cocoa guy, the way we say it. But I'm one of those people that were surrounded by a lot of Christian brothers.
Great.
Right? Where it's not, no one in your midst would, it would be completely outrageous for somebody to try to even put that idea in your head. It felt like their job was to ensure that idea wasn't in your head. If it wasn't thriving. So that is, my close friends would be the type of people that will see you in a situation and say, guy, you don't want to be in that situation, or this is you are not going to be able to enjoy or to be able to hold on to your faith if you keep doing that.
Yeah.
So these are the people that I'm surrounded by. So if in any way, I would say I have like the opposite kind of
pressure. So you had a good pressure.
I had a good pressure to make sure that whatever you do, this to just remind you, don't cross this line. Right?
Wonderful. So the company you keep matters, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
In this dating game.
Absolutely.
Gold, was that true for you? Was that the same for you?
Basically, I think we shared. We got to know ourselves as friends, right?
As friends.
We shared
Yeah.
friends, right? So we shared a group of
Similar friends.
similar friends, and even the ones that I heard that weren't because I didn't grow up in this part of the world, for instance. I grew up in Nigeria, and to an extent, being a virgin is still a virtue. To an extent. I think I say that with caution. Okay, because as a matter of fact, if you're not ashamed to say, it almost, there's some kind of dignity to it.
Is that true today? Is that the same thing you see on the dating scene today?
Because these days you'll be shy to say you've not, it's almost as if, okay,
What's wrong with you?
maybe you're not beautiful enough, or no guy is asking you out, or you're not just desirable or something like that. But that wasn't the case. At least a set of people, like he said, around us, any pressure we're putting on ourselves is by ourselves. It's by our own feelings. Society didn't push us to want to get into any physical relationship, like to be physical with ourselves, not the society. If anything, everything surrounding us was keeping
helping
us
you not
away
to.
from that.
Now, I can't help but pick on the fact that you said this was in Nigeria.
Yes.
Do you think it would have been different if you had dated in North America? For example, if you were in North America, do you think you would have been able to keep the same focus? Do you think your friends, even if they were Christians, would have been able to be great accountability partners that they were to you in Nigeria?
Well, we have found ourselves in North America, and we're still keeping a group of Christian friends. We might have been harder with everything going on, but I think we'll still find ourselves here somehow. I strongly believe we'll still find ourselves here. We will have our struggles. We had our struggles back home too. There were times that we consciously caught some kind of habit. Because this one is a red flag. Something is going to happen at the end of the day. Let's find.
Share some of those habits with
Let's
us.
see. Okay. So every Sunday, after church service and all of that, he would come to pick me. Another thing about our relationship from day one, every other guy goes to their babe, and I don't even know how they've been asked out. Because this was different for me. This young man literally asked, it's basically, I want you to be my wife, and I want us to walk towards you and I.
That was how he asked you out.
You can imagine how strange that would be for a young woman that had no plans yet.
Okay, so it's not like you were dating.
No,
it was
a
dating,
date, but for me,
it's like you would say, there was a future, there's this end, there's this goal to reach. It's not just, we're not just seeing ourselves for seeing sake. Our plan here, the idea here is to know that
Future.
we want to get married. This is how we know if we are compatible, if God will be in it, and then we'll be able to get there. That was the way he came. So we could not hide ourselves from anyone. It was almost an instant, every family member knowing, there was no, as my parents were in it, your parents were in it.
Oh wow.
Somehow we both have younger siblings, although his siblings are way younger than my siblings. But we always find ourselves, whenever we find ourselves in any compromising situations, kisses that get too deep.
Kisses that get too
Yes,
deep.
because I have my friends who will tell you kissing is not part of, for me to even kiss, I'm already going wayward. That's the truth of the matter. But, hey, what can we do to curb this? Those siblings of ours, they might think they were just our siblings, but they were our cover.
Oh, so
yes.
you were always with your siblings.
Oh, we take them when we know things are
hitting up.
baby, Ola, Queen. We go for our picnics, we take them with us. When we are home, it's after church, like I was saying, when he comes to pick me, he's not coming in the car alone. Right? Remember? Everyone is in the car. Sometimes even mom is in the car to come and get me from church and get me over to their house.
So this was a lot of intentionality on your part, to not find yourself in a compromising situation, like you said.
I think it's easy to look at it and to even try to credit ourselves for this level of intentionality. I don't think we're doing it with this. Let's be very intentional. I think it was the dynamics that we wanted to keep from the very beginning, which is it wasn't going to be let's do boyfriend and girlfriend. That was never going to be the idea. It was good, and maybe it was a little bit disappointing for her because she wanted a boyfriend. She wanted to know what it felt like to have like I think she's had other relationship, and she wanted to know what it felt like to have like a boyfriend kind of
the
thing.
ones that come to me,
So
they're very serious minded.
They're very serious minded.
Very serious minded. I remember the first person I ever dated. I left him because I told one of my uncle, I said, this one is a husband material. I'm looking for boyfriend material. And he's like, I don't understand you, God. Uncle K said, what's your problem? People are looking for husband material. You say it. I want to enjoy my life because I didn't start dating like every other person. 13, 15, no. 17, I was still very much by myself. 18, I remember my 18th birthday, I was telling my dad, this is it. I'm going to start dating because he keeps giving me, don't worry, let's wait until you're 18. I will give you this free hand. You will start dating. Then I turned 18 and sharply my guy changed it and was like, when you're 21, you're still too young. I thought by 18, because by the calculation of when I was going to be 18, I was supposed to be done. I think I was supposed to have a year left in school. But I had I'm a missionary's daughter, so that means I moved a lot from Yola to here. And so you get to this one, they tell you, it's third term, you can't move. Take a step back from SS1. There was even a time I moved from SS2 third term, about to be graduated to SS3, and I moved all the way back to SS1 third term.
Wow.
There's been a lot of that kind of back and forth. So I found myself in uni when I was supposed to be finishing. That was when I started. And it's like, when we had this discussion, you were supposed to be graduating at 19. Now you are entering school at 19. Well, we have to review that dating age. We'll do 21. And it was like, oh, come on, Dad. But I was already, there was a guy on my mind that we've been talking, and I've been telling him, just wait. I just have a few months to turn in 18. I remember if I'm dating. 18, I'm going to be 18. I promised my dad, don't worry, we're going to get there. 18.
And it didn't happen.
That's it, 18 didn't happen. So the guy who came to me when I was 20, I told my dad, this time around, this one, I'm going to date him. I will date him. I'm not waiting till 21. And, it was a fight that, look at you. You are no longer my baby. You don't want to listen again. You don't, all those kind of things, right, didn't make me have all those teenager kind of love and what have you and silliness. So I wanted silliness. I just wanted someone to be silly with. But these guys were, then God is a good God, because after I got that first guy who was a good person, my husband knows all about him, very good young man. I could have been married to him, but I listen to my dad too much. It's almost as if the voice of God is on his inside, and when he speaks, I hear. Because he has said, that's not your husband. I don't know, I'm not comfortable when I pray, and I don't know what I'm getting, but that's not your husband. And he said it even on his dying bed and all of that. So I remember leaving AY, not because he had done anything for me, but because the man I call my life basically didn't have a hand in this, and he passed. If he had stayed and prayed for us, and we've prayed together and we've agreed together, but see, I don't even want to find out whether it was wrong, it was just jealous, or I don't want to know. I just left the young man and moved on. Then God brought me that boyfriend I was looking for. Then I realized that I'm not cut out for this.
You want a husband.
Because it was too much. You see, this pressure that we didn't have to even think about, it was a lot with my other person. Our relationship had gotten so physical that, I think one of those days that I went visiting, I found myself, I don't want to come out clothes. What happened? Okay, this is not the plan. And thank God it wasn't someone who, he saw me more as a younger person to him, because he's way older than me. When I say way, I think about 5 years or so, right? But he felt she needs to be able to make her choice. She's probably too young to this. And I remember that scenario. It's like, I will let you go. Like, you don't want to do this. No, I don't. I don't know how we got here, but no, I don't want to be. I don't want to be in this space. Like, this is not it for me. And the relationship continued, but it didn't survive. Because this was not him. He did let me know he doesn't see sex as something that we should have to wait for. We can have it now. It will only get better when we get married, because then we'll even understand each other better. So many, from his own understanding. And it was our Christianity level different, I knew that was not it for me. When he came, and he went straight to, you see, from the first one and the second one, even though I wanted more. In my mind, I'm like, I don't want more than I can handle, because I've gotten the more, and I've come to understand
it's not what you want.
I don't have the energy. I just want someone who understand me and do as I want. We are always about, I think there used to be a time that he would ask me, I don't know why that question was so important for me when I was growing up. Now that I'm thinking about it, that do you care who steers the ship? He would not tell me. He had the guts to tell me then.
He had the guts.
Yes, so that, I don't care as long as the ship is moving, which is our life, Abby. As long as the ship is moving, I don't care who is steering it. He got to know eventually that he shouldn't have said that.
Said that because
I was young.
That's it. Because I'm comfortable steering the ship. Oh my goodness, I'm very comfortable. Even if I'm driving you the wrong way, well,
you're steering the ship.
He got to know, and he had taken the reins. Oh, he has taken the reins very well from my hands. Mm-hmm.
So like, you are steering the ship now, Babatunde. Yes. Yeah.
With a lot of still turn here.
Still turn here.
I think we should turn here.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know where we would have been, but I think, like you said, we will still be right in the spot. That's just to bring it back.
With a lot of godly friends around it.
Yeah.
So since you got married now, everyone expects that on the wedding night this thing happens. So what was that like? Do you feel comfortable sharing that? Did it meet all of your expectations? All of the meals and the of the meals and bones and harlequins? Did they come? Did they meet your expectations?
This young man had to leave Canada to come marry me in Nigeria. I think you traveled on the 25th.
I
You
left
left
on the
25th or
24th to get home on the 25th.
25th,
Yeah,
which was
of
December, Christmas Day. He was trying to package himself as my gift for that year